Hi, I'm Terry Snow. Welcome to the Gold Buckle Camp Draft. I hope that after such long travels to get here, that you enjoy yourselves and enjoy the sport of camp drafting and meeting your fellow countrymen. And it's wonderful to see country people here to meet the people from the coast. I hope you have a good time. There's big prize money, and thank you for coming.
So 401, Casey Cambridge in the camp, Coolamet Bullseye, owned by Bree Garland. 402, Cassie Fordham on Hollywood Catwalk. 403, Chris Nicholson on Palmer's Maybelline. And 404, Travis Glover on One Quick Playgirl.
Well, camp score there for Casey Cambridge, 18.33, camp score only.
So in camp 402, Cassie Fordham on Hollywood Catwalk, owned by Trevorrick Performance Horses. 403 at the gate is Chris Nicholson on Palmer's Maybelline. 404, Travis Glover on One Quick Playgirl, and 405, Harry Larnick on Jackpot. So remember, competitors, the draw for tomorrow's draft will be done at the completion of tonight's draft.
Well, we're watching outside now. Competitor number 402, Cassie Fordham, riding Hollywood Catwalk. Hollywood Catwalk, side by Who's Top Cat. Watched Cassie compete this year at the Sydney Royal Easter Show in our World Championship Camp Draft. She was the ABCRA Lady Rider of the Year in 2022.
In camp, number 403, Chris Nicholson on Palmer's Maybelline. 404, Travis Glover on One Quick Playgirl. 405, Harry Larnick on Jackpot. 406, Lockie Sim on Serene Romance. 407, Bryony Puddicombe on Destiny of Her Own. 408, Ben McNaughton on AMAC Jigsaw. 409, Tom Donnelly on Cold Chisel. 410, Scarlett Chasten on Sunland Rivers. And 411, John Mitchell on Duck and Daisy.
Score for Termworth competitor Cassie Fordham riding Hollywood Catwalk. 21 for cutout, 57.67 for horsework, 3 for the course. A score of 81.67.
So in camp now, number 403, Chris Nicholson on Palmer's Maybelline. He'll be followed by 404, Travis Glover.
Palmer's Maybelline is signed by Palmer's El Condo. 5-year-old mare who only started competing this year in 2023. Camp score of 19 points there for Moruga competitor Chris Nicholson.
In the camp, 404, Travis Glover on One Quick Playgirl. 405 at the gate is Harry Larnick on Jackpot, and 406, Lockie Sim on Serene Romance.
Well, competitor number 404, Travis Glover, riding One Quick Playgirl. The combination we watch on course. Well, Travis Glover and One Quick Playgirl, 21 for cutout, 61.67 for horsework, 4 for the course. Gives them a score here in the first round of 86.67.
In camp, number 405, Harry Larnick on Jackpot. He'll be followed by 406, Lockie Sim on Serene Romance.
Well, 21 points there for cutout there for Harry Larnick, riding Jackpot, 21 points.
In the camp is 406, Lockie Sim on Serene Romance, horse owned by Jeremy Storia, and Lockie is from Holbrook. He'll be followed by 407, Bryony Puddicombe on Destiny of Her Own. Ben McNaughton will follow Bryony on AMAC Jigsaw, and then 409, Tom Donnelly on Cold Chisel.
So Lockie Sim from Holbrook here in New South Wales. Again, better we watch. Riding Serene Romance. Particular mare signed by Wolf of Wall Street.
.407 in the camp, Bryony Puddicombe on Destiny of Her Own, owned by P. Shakespeare. Should be followed by 408, Ben McNaughton on AMAC Jigsaw, 409, Tom Donnelly on Cold Chisel, and 410, Scarlett Chaston on Sunland Rivers.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we have a score for our last competitor, Lockie Sim, riding Serene Romance. 20.33 for cutout, 56.67 for horsework, 3 for the course. We add those numbers together, that will give us a score of 80 points. 80 points there for Lockie Sim. Bryony Puddicombe now on course, number 407, from Nebo in Queensland, riding Destiny of Her Own. Number 408, Ben McNaughton in the camp, followed by 409, Tom Donnelly, and 410, Scarlett Chaston, 411, John Mitchell, and 412, William Chug. Well, scores in for our last combination, Bryony Puddicombe and Destiny of Her Own. 21.67 for cutout, 62 for horsework, 4 for the course. Judges say 87.67. Watching outside now, competitor number 408 from Walker here in New South Wales, Ben McNaughton, riding AMAC Jigsaw. Sired by Bonlac Gigolo, 7-year-old novice gelding. Particular horse owned by Laura McNaughton. Thanks, Ben. In the camp now, we have number 409 here in the first round, Tom Donnelly, riding Cold Chisel. 410, Scarlett Chaston, followed by number 411, John Mitchell, 412, William Chug. Number 413 in the draw will be Dean Norton. We have a cutout score for Ben McNaughton riding AMAC Jigsaw. cut-out score of 22 points. So we move our focus now to competitor number 409, Tom Donnelly, riding Cold Chisel. Tom's 25 years of age. He's from Barraba here in New South Wales. Biggest career highlight so far in his short career was winning the maiden camp draft at Burundai. Cold Chisel is an 8-year-old chestnut gelding by R.S. Chisholm. In the camp now, we should have number 410, Scarlett Chaston, followed by number 411, John Mitchell, 412, William Chugg, 413, Dean Norton. Number 414 will be Roger Grant. Well score now for our last competitor, number 409, Tom Donnelly, riding Cold Chisel, 21.33 for cut-out, 57.33 for horsework, 3 for the course, score of 81.67. We welcome out now number 410 in the draw, Scarlett Chaston, riding Sunland Rivers. Number 411, John Mitchell, should be next in camp, followed by 412, William Chugg, 413, Dean Norton, 414, Roger Grant. Number 415 will be Robbie Block. Well score for our last competitor, number 410, over Scarlett Chaston, riding Sunland Rivers. Cut-out score of 19.67. 60.33 for horsework, 4 for the course, total of 84 points. You now move to number 411, John Mitchell, riding Duck and Daisy. So this is Lady Smith competitor John Mitchell. Duck and Daisy is 11-year-old mare, sired by Ray Gill, out of Dainty Duckling, has won 6 open camp drafts. Well score for John Mitchell, riding Duck and Daisy, 21 for cut-out, 62.33 for horsework, 4 for the course, and we have a score of 87.33.
In camp now, number 412, William Chugg on Miss Brooks Boone, owned by Lauren Finger. 413, Dean Norton at the gate on Royale Elation. 414, Roger Grant on Taz's Little Lady. And 415, Robbie Block on All Stars Famous Acres. Just a little request to the competitors, if any of the information you've been hearing today is incorrect, if you could jump onto your Camp Giraffe Central profile and correct that for us before tomorrow's draw is done, that would be amazing, so we actually have the same information up here.
Well, we have a cutout score for our last competitor, William Chugg, riding Miss Brooks Boone, 19.33.
So in the camp now, 413 Dean Norton on Royale Elation, owned by Dean and Kellyanne Norton from Lake Kajelico. Dean will be followed by 414 Roger Grant on Taz's Little Lady, 415 Robbie Block on All Stars Famous Acres, 416 Andrew Turvey on Knipes Destiny's Playgirl, 417 Amy Jamison on Mr. Bojangles, 418 Matt Holtz on Taraway Grace, 419 Peter Bolton on Reflex, and 420 Alex Malloy on Seventh Heaven.
Well, Dean Norton working outside, competitor number 413 from the city of Lake Kajelico. Well, that was Dean Norton riding Royale Elation. We'll have a score coming through very shortly. Number 414, Roger Grant, moves into the camp. Score for Dean Norton riding Royale Elation. 19.33 for cutout, 59 for horse work, 4 for the course, a score of 81.33.
Working in camp, 414 Roger Grant on Taz's Little Lady. He'll be followed by 415 Robbie Block on All Stars Famous Acres.
Cutout score for Roger Grant, riding Taz Little Lady, 20.33. So we're going to go now with number 415, Robbie Block from Inverell, the livestock agent from Inverell, riding All Stars Famous Acres, 9-year-old novice mare.
One in, boys. One in.
In camp, 416 Andrew Turvey on Knight's Destiny's Playgirl. It's the Willinga Park horse, and Andrew is from Wandoan. He'll be followed by 417 Amy Jamison on Mr. Bojangles, 418 Matt Holtz on Taraway Grace, 419 Pete Bolton on Reflex, and 420 Alex Malloy on Seventh Heaven.
score for Inverell competitor Robbie Block, riding All Stars Famous Acres. 20.67 for cutout, 63 for horsework, 4 for the course, 87.67 are the numbers here in the first round there for Robbie Block, riding All Stars Famous Acres. So Wandale Queensland competitor Andrew Turvey on course, riding Playgirl, Knipes Destiny's Playgirl. 6-year-old mare, sired by One More Playboy, novice mare.
In camp now, number 417, Amy Jamison on Mr. Bojangles, owned by DNL Jamison from Barraba. She'll be followed by 418, Matt Holtz on Taraway Grace.
Well, cut-out score for our last competitor, Andrew Turvey, riding Knipes Destiny's Playgirl. 22 points for cut-out. Amy Jamison now on course from Tamworth, riding Mr. Bojangles, a 17-year-old Lindsay Gelding. Cut-out score there for Amy Jamison, riding Mr. Bojangles, 21.67.
In camp, 418, Matt Holtz on Taraway Grace. Grace is owned by Fiona DePeda, and Matt is now from Burrumbuttock. He'll be followed by 419, Pete Bolton on Reflex. 420, Alex Malloy on 7th Heaven. 421, Jared Fitzpatrick on Westbrook Ivory Coast. 422, Scott Shea on Breeze. 423, Bevan Reid on Rowdy. 424, Billy Elliott on Booty. 425, Susan Dynastis on Horse Mick Rio. 426, Bron John on Odie. 427, Tim McCarthy on Hot Lap. 428, Jim Lawton on Rumba. And 429, our final competitor tonight, Shane Palmer on Don't Look Back.
Well, Taraway Grace is a 12-year-old open mare.
So in camp, 419, Pete Bolton on Reflex, owned by Pete and Michelle Bolton from Hayfield in Victoria. And 420 at the gate, Alex Malloy on Curral 7th Heaven.
Well, Matt Holtz there riding Taraway Grace, 22 for cutout, 63.67 for horsework, 4 for the course, total of 89.67. Unofficially, that'll place that combination into third place.
So out on course is 419 Pete Bolton on Reflex, 420 in the camp, Alex Malloy on 7th Heaven. Alex is from Wagga. He'll be followed by 421 Jared Fitzpatrick on Westbrook Ivory Coast and 422 Scott Shea on Breeze.
Score there for Peter Bolton riding Reflex, 21 for Cutout, 63 for Horsework, 4 for the course, 88 points, 88 there for Peter Bolton riding Reflex.
Out on course, 420 Alex Malloy on 7th Heaven. In the camp, 421 Jared Fitzpatrick on Westbrook Ivory Coast.
Well, Tarcutta competitor Alex Malloy, and 7th Heaven, 7-year-old open mare.
That is him on the left. Yep.
In camp, 421 Jared Fitzpatrick on Westbrook Ivory Coast. Jared is from Rousley. He'll be followed by 422 Scott Shea on Breeze, 423 Bevan Reid on Rowdy, 424 Billy Elliott on Booty, and 425 Susan Dynastis on Halls Smick Rio.
Call for our last competitor Alex Malloy riding Carrell 7th Heaven, 21 for Cutout, 63.67 for Horsework, 4 for the course, 88.67 is the score here in the first round. So we're watching number 421 here tonight, Jared Fitzpatrick from Bacchus Marsh in Victoria. Westbrook Ivory Coast, a black 20-year-old gelding and a multiple open camp draft winner.
In camp, 422 Scott Shea on Breeze. This horse is owned by Brett Petty and he's from Braidwood. 423 at the gate is Bevan Reid on Rowdy and 424 Billy Elliott on Booty.
Well, Jared Fitzpatrick riding Westbrook Ivory Coast, 21 for Cutout, 63 for Horsework, 4 for the course, 88 points. 88 there for our last competitor, Jared Fitzpatrick. We're watching Braidwood competitor Scott Shea on course riding Breeze.
In camp, number 423 Bevan Reid on Rowdy. Bevan's from Delegate. He'll be followed by 424 Billy Elliott on Booty, 425 Susan Dynastis on Hallsmick Rio, 426 Bron Upjohn on Odie, 427 Tim McCarthy on Hot Lap, 428 Jim Lawton on Rumba, and 429 our final competitor Shane Palmer on Don't Look Back. Remember everyone, if your details are wrong, please jump onto your Camp Giraffe Central profile and fix those up before the next draw's done.
Well, we have a cutout score for our last competitor, Scott Shea, riding Breeze, 20.67. Bevan Reid from Delegate. Better we're watching now. Bevan is riding Rowdy. Good on you, thanks Bevan. Bevan Reid there, folks, riding Rowdy. We'll have a score very shortly. Number 424 makes his way into the camp now. And this will be Billy Elliott. Billy is riding Booty.
In camp, 424 Billy Elliott on Booty. He'll be followed by 425 Susan Dynastis, 426 Bron Upjohn.
Well, score coming through for our last competitor, Bevan Reid. 21 for cutout, 57.33 for horsework, 3 for the course, 81.33 there for our last competitor, Bevan Reid riding Rowdy. So this is Billy Elliott riding Booty. Novice mare, sired by I'm a Smooth Blue Cat.
In camp, number 425, Susan Dynastis. Waiting for a fresh yard of cattle. She'll be followed by 426, Bronwyn Upjohn on Odie, 427, Tim McCarthy on Hot Lap, 428, Jim Lawton on Rumba, and 429, Shane Palmer on Don't Look Back.
Well, Billy Elliott and Booty, our last combination, had a camp score of 21 points.
That's him, says.
Well, watching Southeast Queensland competitors, Susan D'Anastis on course, riding Hall Smick Rio. 8-year-old Play Rio mare, out of a 49 cheek bred mare.
In camp, 426, Brumwyn Upjohn on Oti. Trilogy Racing owns Oti. Brumwyn is one of our Victoria competitors. Bron will be followed by 427 Tim McCarthy on Hot Lap, 428 Jim Lawton on Rumba, and 429 Shane Palmer on Don't Look Back.
Well, we have a score for the Queensland competitors. Susan D'Anastis riding Hawes Smick Rio, 21 for cutout, 61.67 for horsework, 4 for the course, 86.67. So this is Brumwyn Upjohn, number 426 in the draw, riding Oti by Destiny's Mr. Chick, out of Doc's Dream Catcher. We'll have a score for the Kilmore competitor, Brumwyn Upjohn. We have a cutout of 20.67.
In camp is 427 Tim McCarthy on Hot Lap, owned by Tim and Lauren McCarthy of Aldavilla. 428 Jim Lawton on Rumba, and 429 Shane Palmer, Don't Look Back.
So we have Kempsey competitor Tim McCarthy riding Hot Lap. Hot Lap is an open mare by Hot As Hell from a One More Playboy mare. Tim's camp draft highlights include placing second in the Kenny Downs of Warwick, winning a maiden, novice and open camp draft all on the one weekend. Thank you, Tim. That was competitor number 427 here in the first round, Tim McCarthy riding Hot Lap.
In camp now is 428 Jim Lawton on Rumba. Says he's from Morong, but pretty sure he's from Gundagai. 429 Shane Palmer on Don't Look Back. Good horse name for the end of the day.
So Jim Lawton and Rumba top that bred horse. Jim's from Gundagai.
That's it.
Okay, our final competitor for today, the first day of the Gold Buckle Camp Draft, is 429 Shane Palmer on Don't Look Back. Shane is from Tamworth.
Well, score coming through for the Gundagai horseman, Jim Lawton, riding Rumba at a cutout of 20.33. 61 for horsework, 4 for the course. A score of 85.33 there for Gundagai competitor Jim Lawton.
Out.
So watching Tamworth competitor Shane Palmer, number 429, riding Don't Look Back. Over cut-out score there for Shane Palmer, riding Don't Look Back, 21.33.
So just like to say a very, very big thank you to the judges for sitting out there all day and obviously judging this event. A 6 a.m. start in the morning. I'll just grab a few more details. So yes, a 6 a.m. start in the morning, and the draws will be text to everyone tonight. And a very big thank you. 1, yes, to the judges. 2, to all the backyard guys, everyone that's contributed towards today, people running food around, all the people and actions going on behind the scenes that half of us know nothing about. But thank you, everyone. What a successful day of drafting with many, many outside scores.
Well, I'm Dan Steers, one half of Double Down Horsemanship. Ooh, bit of feedback. Sorry about the feedback there, but like I said, I'm Dan Steers, one half of Double Down Horsemanship, and that's going to conclude our first day of the Ringers Western Gold Buckle Camp Draft Championship. I've got a few scores here to rattle off. Number 1 position, taking away the $10,000 paycheck for round 1 is none other than Mark Buttsworth on One Stylish Pepto. Great to see a fellow Foresight and Ringers Western rider take out day number 1 in the top score with a 91.67. We talked to Mark Buttsworth today, and he was talking about One Stylish Pepto being the age of 20 and regarded him as one of his favourites going into this camp draft, and also mentioned about Foresight product keeping him sound. So it's great to see Mark Buttsworth on top. Following that, we have a 90-point run with Wyatt Young and Metallic Storm. I know Linda McCullum will be really happy to see that with her favourite Metallic Storm. We got then Matt Holtz, last year's winner, sitting in 3rd position along with Troy Palmer and Matt Beach, as well as Wyatt Young again, all on an 89.67. So it's really tight with the 3 judges scoring. Then we come down to the 89.33 with Troy Palmer and Blue Tunes. And again, that's another really great horse that Troy's been campaigning for the last couple of years. Then we slip into the 89s, and the 89s will round out the top 10. So we have Jared Fitzpatrick, we've got Ben McNaughton, Michael Hiscock, Matt Holtz, Peter Bolton, Ken Bolton, Robert Leach, Wyatt Young, Hugh Miles, all on those 89. It's been a fantastic day of camp drafting. It was, well, I looked at the scores, there was 86 and above, there was over 33%. So we had fantastic cattle, it was great to see. The weather's held out most of the day, and we're excited to come back for day number 2 to see who's going to make it back to the clean slate semi-final. I think it's going to take 2 reasonable scores to see the riders get back into that top 100, and it's going to be really competitive this year to find out who's going to be the winner of the Ringers Western Gold Buckle Camp Draft Championship. So we're going to see you back here tomorrow at 6 a.m. So we've got a little bit of an earlier start because we're going to, once we conclude the second round of the Gold Buckle, we're then going to be slipping into the feature cutout first round. So it's going to be a busy day tomorrow, so stay tuned and be back here. Like I said, I want to just thank our major sponsors in both Ringers Western and Foresight. Thanks for covering this fantastic event, and Terry Snow and the team for putting on a great event.